Great. So, hello, guys. Today we on the Unsalary podcast. It's me and Joshua. We will today talk about in general the investings we have been doing, like how to get started, all the basics, and in general, like what mistakes that I made and Joshua have made, and what we learned from it.
Yes.
So yeah, like in general, I think. What do you think, like in general, when you start investing?
First thing is, if you don't save money,
Yeah.
how can you start invest? So if we start from this perspective, I think the first thing is that you need to set a budget every month, because investing is a big word if you cannot stop the problem before. In order to invest, you need to save. And many people, they don't know where they spend their money.
Yeah.
So they say, I don't have money to invest, or investing is risky or whatever. But if you don't understand that maybe you're buying too many things just for the sake of buying clothes or like electronic stuff, like many things that you don't need, but you just buy it because you just want to show off on other people. That is the first mistake that people make. And in order to invest, you need to set a budget, as I said before, of money that you know that you're gonna put out automatically, or you're gonna transfer every month in this brokerage account or investing platform that you're gonna invest your money every month. But the thing is that many people, they never start doing this, and this is a huge mistake, because I hear people saying that it's like betting. Investing is like betting for older people, but it's not.
No.
It's not betting, because when you invest in something, let's say I want to open a restaurant. I invest my money in opening this restaurant, and I'm putting my money, but it's not sure that the restaurant will be successful in the future, in the near future or not. But I'm just, let's say, I'm not betting. Investing is when you put your money in something that you believe that with time can give you a return.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So like if we go back to the start, like when you talk about saving, I remember one thing I was told by many friends when we were younger was like I was being cheap, you know. I didn't like if we go to McDonald's, I choose not to buy, you know, like
the expensive one.
Yeah, or I just didn't. Sometimes I didn't choose to buy it because I would rather want to save the money, because you use quickly like a lot of money on this.
Crazy.
Fast food, you know.
And
also like in some things, you know, I took a lot of shifts. So have you ever been like called by your friends like cheap, or you didn't?
Yeah, I remember sometimes going to like bars, sitting there, seeing all my friends ordering things, and I was just sitting there not ordering anything, because it's all about this. I'm not saying you should not go out and have fun, or I'm not saying this, because many people, they misunderstand this, but it's just that you need to be conscious on your money. Because for you it's just €5 or 50 krona or whatever. But you need to think that they compound with time. Many people, they don't have a limit on their spending. And this is a real big problem, because they say, I don't have money, or my job doesn't pay that much. But then when you dig in their bank accounts, you find out that they had the money, but they just used it in a wrong way.
Yeah, but I think also one thing is like, do you believe, like I said before, I don't believe that you can save yourself rich, because many people, they say, you're just being cheap, you're just trying to save yourself rich, but you can't save yourself rich, because like if you just save money, even if you invest them, then you cannot accumulate this compounding interest over time with a salary, normal job salary, whatever, paying the taxes, which is like different from country but here like it's pretty high, 42, sometimes higher. So I think like in general, like it's the way people see it, you know, like the viewpoint of it, because if you think, why should I be cheap at a young age? When I'm young, I can go and do things. Yeah, that's true. But life hasn't stopped yet. You know? Life is so long, you know. We are just in the first inning, you know. Like life is so long. You have so much time, you know. You haven't maybe have children yet, But even if you have children, then after there will still be a life, and you will still have a life with them. You can still go like on vacations and everything, and have a better base. So I think like you say, to invest in yourself is pretty important also on that point, and not to be like caught in this view that being cheap is like just not doing anything. No, you can still have a life. You can still go out. You can still have fun, but you just, as you say, you don't have to use like all your money like all the time, you know, like go and use a lot of money at one time. You can just go sometimes, and as you said, like to invest in yourself first, like to say, okay, this month when you put the budget, I will put like this for having fun, and this I will put for my investing account.
Because I think that many people they need to have this view that this system nowadays has always been like this, doesn't reward savers but investors. In order to create wealth, you need to invest your money, period. If you save your money, every year inflation is eating out your money, every single year. Even if they give you the raise from your salary, they're giving you the raise based on the previous year
rates,
of the previous year, not from this year.
No.
And this is or many people, I heard many people saying, yeah, but my bank gives me 2% like interest every year. And I'm like, okay, but you know that inflation is 2-3% or so many years, 5 years, 5%. And people, they're like, yeah, but investing is risky. And I'm like, not investing is risky. I'm not saying everyone should be an investor, but in order to create something in your future, you need to own assets. You need to own investments.
Have a base that works for you when you sleep.
And people, they say, as you said before, you said many people say that you're just cheap and you should enjoy. I'm okay, you should enjoy your life. I'm not saying you should not enjoy, you should really enjoy your life, because you can die tomorrow, whatever, anything can happen. But you need to be concerned of your finances. It's something that you cannot avoid. At a certain age, you cannot afford to don't have money. It's dangerous. It's one of the most important, I think financial stress is the worst thing that you can possibly have. My dad always told me, he always said to me, financial stress is terrible and you should do anything in your power to avoid it. Because when you don't, the feeling of not having money is the worst thing. I can say that maybe having a loss in your family or like a disease
of course
that, but not having money, I almost put it on that level.
I think it's important, like you say, not to remember that like life is all about money. It's about, you know, other things, small happiness through life, meeting your love of your life, having your first child, your second child, whatever, you know, buying your first car, whatever, doing what you're dreaming about, going to places you want to go. That's also life. It's not about like you should be cheap, sit at home, not doing anything.
No.
I think also it's a good example, like that you and your girlfriend, you travel, you know, like you're going to Thailand soon. You were just in Luxembourg, right?
Exactly. But still, you need to be responsible. You need to know that I'm going for vacation, yes, but I did my homework before. I did my budgeting. I know how much money are going out, and I know how much money I'm gonna save until then. I'm not saying that in 12 months you should stay in one place. You can travel, but you need to be smart about it. Like, let's say you want to go to Thailand or you want to go to Japan or America, let's say. Then you need to know you're investing your money. So you know that you are getting a return also on those money, you know, that you not cashed out that money. But you know still that an asset is generating money for you, you know. Like I'm maybe using 15,000 krona or the equivalent of 2,000 euro, but I know that my investments, they're giving me even, let's say 500. I'm still under, but I'm still generating something. But if I just keep my money in my bank accounts, I have inflation eating the money and I'm spending as well the money.
So the buying power is like disappearing. I think that's a very good point also, like, because for me, I learned like, maybe in the start it was a bit like, I would not say cheap, but I was like just working, like saving all this. But I also learned that like you say, like if you go to Thailand or you go to America, whatever, you also learn through experience, through meeting people.
Really?
And networking, all these things is also important. So like one guy once said to me, like, just take like your bank or whatever out and going to eat. And I said, why should I do that? He said, because that meal that you pay, like let's say 50 euros for, this meal will maybe make you a lot of money in the future because you will have a relation. And that means a lot also when we're talking about this. But if we think it goes back to like the basics you were talking about, you know, keeping a budget and then each month investing in yourself, correct?
Yeah.
I would also say that like to invest in yourself, like to put the money aside And like, what do you do with? Do you like not because we're sitting here talking about, you know, I don't want to say choose this stock or whatever, but
Yeah.
like, do you just buy an index or do you single pick?
No, I started with single stocks.
Yeah.
Because when you start, the impression is that you want to make a lot of money immediately. You find out, I want to choose the next Tesla or Microsoft or whatever. So you want to invest a lot of money in just one thing and hoping that it will skyrocket or do something. I think it's a mistake that we all make, and it's fine. It's not a mistake. They're choices.
Yeah.
But I think that for someone, like for me, I started like that. But afterwards, I started to like study, like reading books and watching podcasts talking about this, like getting more involved in this subject.
Exactly.
And I understood that a way to create wealth is investing in ETFs, index fund, that they are a basket of stocks. So you can buy, for example, the S&P 500 or NASDAQ 100. So you buy, with one purchase, you buy a basket of stocks.
Exactly.
And if one of these stocks starts to perform like very bad, let's say Google, you invest in Google and Google fail, Google will get removed, and another upcoming company is gonna join the S&P 500 in this case.
And you also have like the other stocks, which is like 499 in this, 500 if you have one going bad, and you have in the Nasdaq 100, so it's 99 companies. So you have like diversifying without you having to have a lot of liquidity.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
if you have to buy like 500 different companies, how much should you have, you know, and also the expenses to like buy all this.
Yeah.
So I think it's very important, as you say, you know, for me, I think I would not say the mistake, but I was like this. I have invested in single stocks from start. I really like single stocks because I really find something I believe in. And I go all in. But it also kept me like in a spiral for some time. When I talk about the meta, I did, you know, at 1 year I was down 80%, 85 or something, you know. I was thinking maybe they will go bankrupt, you know.
Yeah.
But I didn't sell. I was like, you know, if I lose, I lose it all. And I think like, and that made me like a lot of money afterwards, you know. So I think sometimes you can do this, but it's like, it's so dangerous, you know. If I look back for myself, I beat the market because I did single pick stocks, but I also had like times where I was like, not like, you could have other stocks going up, you know, Nvidia crushing the market, and I'm sitting with like a negative 80% on Meta, let's say that, you know. And I'm like, you know, if I have diversified, I would have some of that. Also, I think one thing is, if we should go back, like, is people, when they start, I always hear, you should show me one day, you can show me how to invest. And I'm like, it's not something I show you, you know. Of course, I can show you how to make an account on whatever broker you're using. But it's not about, you know, showing like what you should do. You should basically dollar cost averaging. That means, you know, each month you convert to whatever currency you're buying in. If it's euros, like we operate in Danish crowns, so we convert. If you're American or European or whatever, you will use the euro or dollar. And if you don't have to convert, then you don't have that risk. But then you convert, and then you just buy whatever, you know, I would say like an ETF, just as a starter point, you know. It will be pretty good way to get started, because it's not like a thing. People think it's like, you know, magic. Like, you see someone who's bought Tesla in 2016 and they made a lot of money. Yeah, but they also had a lot of risk, you know, doing that. And I think it's very important that, you know, at that point you remember that if you put all your eggs in one basket and you lose that basket, all the eggs will break. But have you one for each basket for each egg, then you will only break one egg. And that also means you risk diversify, and that also means that you will not lose all your money at one time. So I think it's so important. I for myself, I learned that myself. I was lucky that I never invested in something that really went bad, you know, because this 100%, it can lose all your capital in one this. And that was really a mistake I think that I did. I don't know, like, if you felt the same with one of yours.
Like to start, I wanted to say the thing is that when you invest in stocks and you buy ETFs, it's fine, but you need to have a balance in your portfolio. Like, you need to have some ETFs. Then, if you want, you can have some single stocks as well. But I think that, from my point of view, the ETF needs to be a higher percentage in your portfolio than your single stocks. Because if you have single stocks, your portfolio one day is like this, like that, you know. But if you have ETF, they just keep everything.
Even out.
Yeah, exactly. That is the thing.
But also, I think one interesting point is I remember like when I went to school, I was taking something called corporate finance in Copenhagen, and one of my teachers, he said like so many people was investing in ETF now that it was easier to beat the market because everyone put it in one basket, you know. So you can easier find the value in the market. But I think what's interesting thought, you know, that because a lot of people they choose to go with the ETF, then it's become easier to find the value in other stocks because like then there can be like some stocks out there that is like undervalued. But we're not talking about this here, you know, what is undervalued, what is overvalued. But I think in general, like to the starting point, just start with ETF. Like just go in, take an ETF, see what can I take aside. And like if you feel from the start, I think like people just need to feel the start that okay, I will put let's say amount 300 euros a month, just as if I'm or less. But I put this on my account for a year. I like invest each month in the S&P 500 for an ETF, and then I don't touch it. I don't pull out the money. I don't do anything. Of course, if a bad year, then you can be like, oh damn, you know. But it's always like this, you know. Over time, stock always outperform. And it's been doing that for all time. But I think it's really important that you like do that. And when you then see that, you know, over time that is proving that it's doing that, it's not something that people just say, you know. Some people think it's a pyramid scheme or something. Then you can like from there on get the confidence to do more, you know. You should think like this. I always think when I invest money, I say this is not money I will need for 8 years.
Exactly. That is the point. When you invest, you need to know that those money that you are investing, they're money that you're gonna keep in the account for years. It's not that tomorrow you need the money to buy things. No. When you invest, those money stays there. They stay there. They don't move. Because if not, you lose the power. You lose the compound interest. Like compound, you lose the compounding over time.
Exactly.
Because when you have money invested, every year they compound. Like this year you had 10% interest, then you're gonna have 10% the next year, and they compound over time. Exactly. So if you lose that train, it's done. So when you invest, you need to know that you have an emergency fund that if something happens tomorrow, let's say your car.
You have the liquidity, so like let's just say like we just take a simple thing like if you have a car or whatever, you should like have some emergency fund that can pay off the reparation, like if it breaks down, if you will live in a house, you know, you have this, or you have kids, just something that you know. Is it usually you say as a free time to your expenses, like you should have like or something, or your salary?
From my point of view is when you're young, you have less responsibilities.
Exactly.
You have your rent.
Yeah.
For some,
you should say that.
Yeah. for someone that is like young, very young, I would say even 1 month. I would say. But if you have 3 months, it's better. If you have 6 months, better. If you have 1 year, better. But at least 1 month of the expense that you're gonna have in 1 month. That is really important because your investment, you want to stay invested.
Yeah, exactly. Always timing the market, being in the market, always be timing the market.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I've been doing that myself also, where I thought, you know, like I could stay out of the market and I would time it, you know, and then something crazy happened and you think the market goes down and it goes up. It never makes sense.
Yeah.
You always say like the market's like a schizophrenic person. You know? You can't trust him.
You cannot trust.
He changes his mind all the time, you know. And so I think like what do you like if we should what would you avoid for the first year like investing?
I would say first thing, I would say this because I was a victim of this as well. First thing, don't try to beat the market buying penny stocks. Never do that. Never. I remember once I bought one stock. I was like, I bought this stock because I just heard someone on TikTok saying, oh, you need to buy this stock. At the time I was a complete beginner. I saw it. I said, okay, I'm gonna buy it right now. Bought it. Went up 20% immediately the same day. Afterwards, I went home. I was like, oh yeah, I made this, like I was so happy because I put so much money in it. And then afterwards, came home, just went to work the next day. I was at the grocery shop, like just doing some shopping, like buying some groceries.
Yeah.
I received a notification. I just opened my phone. That stock was it did like minus 85%.
Holy crap.
Yeah, I watched it. I was about to scream in the grocery shop, like, I was like, what the fuck? From there on, I stopped like buying single stocks or things that not single stock, because I own single stocks as well, but I buy things that I know about, and that I use as well.
But I think it's like a general thing. You can always have example of, like, we take people, they say, my grandmother been smoking all her life. She's 105. Okay, there's always example of things, like maybe with stocks. Some guys say, I bought penny stocks. I made 5,000%.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but it's like, it can happen. Of course, like it's how the market works. But you need also to remember that, like, if you take the risk, and especially if you put all your money, hard-earned money in this,
oh my God,
you can lose it all, and you have to start from scratch.
Yeah.
Diversifying. I love risk also. For me, I'm not this kind of guy who like to bet, but I like if I can find something that I know.
That gives you adrenaline a little
exactly.
bit. Yeah.
And if I know that one stock is underperforming, I know for sure, and I just know the market needs to see, and maybe it takes a year, maybe it takes two, but I know for sure it's underperforming.
Yeah.
And the day the stock skyrockets, it gives me the craziest adrenaline. Like I remember one time with Meta, they were like going down all the time, and then they were making layoffs, and they were like crushing the earnings at the same time, and the stock went up 40%.
Oh,
I was sitting at home, I was screaming like crazy because I was so fucking happy. Like it was amazing, seeing your portportfolio go up like this.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it was like, I would say
man,
better than
like
sex, but I can't say that, but close to, but it was good, But like it's fucking amazing, like I love this feeling. It keeps me alive, For me,
really?
It's the same as when you're betting, like, but betting is dangerous, but like this, it's something else, because you can control the risk. I think that's important.
And also, it's because when you're investing at the same time, your money, they're working for you. Like, of course, you work for your money, you go to your 9 to 5 or whatever, you earn your money, but then you make your money work for you.
Exactly.
So you're investing your money. And with time, I remember once, going back, I was just sitting at home and I was like, I'm gonna save 7,000 every month.
Yeah.
7,000 krona. In euros, around 900 and something euros.
Exactly.
I said, I'm gonna save this amount of money for 30 years. So I'm just gonna make the calculation right now.
Okay.
So that people...
Yeah. I think like I did some of the same things, I tried to keep some of my expenses down. I don't know, it was 7,000, but I just keep like in dollar cost averaging, like, and sometimes I could put more, sometimes I could put less. It was like depending on it. So
I said I will put 7,000 every month for 12 months. So in 1 year is exactly 84,000 Danish crowns. So 11,000 euros.
Okay.
1 year. If you put 7,000 every month. Yeah. Then I'm gonna multiply this for, let's say, 20 years. Yes. So it's 1,600,080 krona. In euro is 200,024. Something like that. Yeah.
But I also think that's important to remember. Then you have a compounding interest if you invest.
Yeah, exactly. So let's say that right now I said that you have this amount that is
1,680,000.
Yeah. And right now you invest those money.
Also think like one thing I think is very important is, of course you can see in 20 years that's also a lot of money, you can accumulate, and if you take on the compounding interest of investing also. But I think one thing that I really like, and that's why I'm also so much into real estate, is that you can invest with debt. You can take the some debt and you can like gear.
Yeah.
Because that's like I always say, it's time that is working against us. Life is about we start now from a basic point. We need to create a life where we like start having assets, if it's stocks or it's properties. Then you go to the midlife, you love of your life, you have children, all this.
Yeah.
That's saying one thing. Then at the same time, your asset is working with you at that time, so you don't have to start at that time, And then at some point here, whatever your end goal is, I think everyone has different end goals. Some want to retire early, some like to work and want to keep working, but still want to have the freedom of, buying a car when they want a new car, they want to, do something. I think it's like different, like going on vacation all the time or like 8 times a year. So I think really like in the like everything we're talking about here, it's very important to remember that life is really about each person, but also that it's not about being cheap or saving like for 20 years. Because when you say this, I think some people who view this will say, 20 years, now I'm 29, so in 49 years, so not 49. When you're 49, What will you do 49? Then you're old.
But then when people say this, I'm like, then spend all your money. Like my dad always tell me, when you're working and you're 20, 25 or 30 or 40, it's fine. Like your body is still, you have a lot of energy. But when you're 60, it's not the same going at work at 60 years old.
Exactly, and that's where like your stupid financial decision from earlier in your life gets and kick your ass,
And I was saying before, if you invest for 20 years, 7,000 krona every year, for 20 years with an average return from the market of 10% every year, you're gonna, let's start from before. So if you invest 7,000 every month for 20 years without interest or anything, you're just leaving this money in your bank account. So you have 7,000 every month, just leaving it in your bank account. You're gonna have, after 20 years, you're gonna have 1.5 million almost, a little more. 1,600,000.
Yeah, that you accumulated.
Without investing.
Yeah, with the
just in your bank accounts. But if you invest those money with a 10% return average every year for 20 years, you're gonna have 5.3 million crowns.
Yeah.
Just from compound interest.
But it also we need to remember that there is inflation. So let's say the real number is 7, but it's still, I get the point, But just if someone say you forgot inflation and money will not be 5.6 million will not be. Of course, it will still be money, I guess. But if we have hyperinflation, it might be,
But imagine having this money in your bank account. As you said, you cannot save your way to wealth. You need the only way to create wealth is by investing. Who says no? He's lying to himself.
Yeah. And I think like for nearly everyone here who doesn't have like inherited something from their parents, if you have, of course, then you have a lot of compound interest from the past that you will like take over. I'm not like mad about that. I'm just saying, it's a different point. But for someone who have one life, we have only one life. We are going to die someday. And then in that time span, we need to, create a good life for ourselves, complete our goals, whatever we want. And in that time, we need a safety net, which is giving us money. Exactly. Money is also time. I think it's important that, as you say here, that if you do this, then you might be able to create something.
And many people, as you said before, many people, maybe your friends, they're gonna say to you, "Oh, you're cheap. You don't spend your money. You have only one life. You should go for 5 vacations a year. All this," and I'm like, no, we are not saying this. As we said, we are not saying this. Not saving money, but investing your money. It can be a passion, like people play football.
Exactly.
And also for me, saving my money and investing my money is fun. For me, it's fun. Exactly. I find joy in it. Exactly. For me, it's not being cheap or being. I want to avoid happiness. For me, me when I watch my investments, I'm happy. It gives me joy, not because of the money, but it's something that I appreciate doing. And people need to stop saying this misconception of money, that money is evil, money is bad.
Yeah.
Money is good because it's a passion like any other. Exactly. You go to work for money. I trade because I work. I trade my time for money.
Exactly. And it's time you never will get back. That's also remember.
Exactly. But with that money that I have from my job, I use that money to create other investing. Is the only way, by investing.
Exactly. I think that's a very important point that you're coming with here. That, and especially I see it like this. What you're doing and I'm doing is I'm investing in my future self.
Exactly.
So it's like people who say I go to the let's say to the fitness center or whatever, because I want a healthy body, so I can become keeping myself healthy in the future, and then become not sick when I get older. The same here. You are doing investing, and you are doing investing in your future self, in your future family, in your future kids. That's what you're doing. I think that's a very important point. Not to say that you should enjoy life doing, if you just sit down, I save all my money, I won't use any money, or shit like this, you will die in this, because people who do this, they get tired. I said in the last podcast about, if you don't eat salad for diet, then you don't want to do the diet.
Of course.
You know that yourself, if you're too extreme. But if you find a way where you think, okay, this is a lifestyle, this is not like something, I need to save the money, you will get a very different perspective on life. I think that's very important.
And also because everything costs money. People say money is not happiness. Yes, money is not happiness. Yeah. But to have that car that you want, you need money. You want to have a marriage, you need to have money. Yeah. You want to have kids, money.
Exactly.
You want to put gas in your car, money. Yeah. You want to go for a vacation, money.
Yeah.
How can you say that money is not important?
But also I think for me, I'm in this age where people, they really want to have children, and start to have all these thoughts.
You need to create a base before.
But also I think one thing is very important when we talk about this is when you are putting someone in this world, of course you have financial, you have to protect them financially and all this, but who do you want to be who do you want to be remembered at? I think that's very important. Do you want to be remembered when you have your children, that your children go to school and say, my dad, he lay on the sofa at home and watch TV all day? Or do you want someone to say, my dad is building houses, or my dad is working, with this, and I'm proud of him, or my whatever, or my mom, in general, just what do you be remembered at? Also around you, to create a legacy. I think that's also important to point, because money, you can't take money in your grave. You can't do anything. When we die, it's over. Yeah. Of course, then we can believe in different things, what happens after. But if we look at the point, we can't take money in the grave. That's basic. And I think that it's important to remember, not this, but also what legacy we'll put after yourself. That's very important also.
Yeah, because you will have kids, and your kids, if they want to start an expensive education, or they want to move abroad and do something, they will ask you for money. But if you cannot provide, people, they need to understand that money is important. You need to have control on your expenses, and you need to have a budget every month. You cannot live a life just thinking that it's all joy. No. Hard times, they come very often. Life happens. Today you're fine, tomorrow you're not.
Exactly.
If you need to be prepared. Your job is not sure. Nothing is sure in this world. Anything can happen every day.
Yeah, exactly.
And if something happens, you need to be prepared. Okay, maybe you don't have all the money that you need to be prepared, but at least you have something to be prepared of. Yeah. Life is not only about investing or saving, but you need to be responsible for yourself and for your kids.
Exactly.
If you have kids.
Yeah, and I think to everything we talk about today, all this with investing, how to get started, all the things that we did wrong, and why you should do it. I think from there on, we will leave this topic from here now. And then we will maybe take it up another time, and especially of course, if people have comments about anything that we are saying, that could be also interesting. But I think from now on we will stop the podcast for today, and say thank you for watching our podcast. We hope you enjoy, and see you in the next one.
And subscribe on the YouTube channel.